welcome to another standard baseball video. Today we're doing a follow-up to the video I did a couple of weeks ago about one trade for every team in the NL West. I don't remember seeing any comments, but I just decided, you know what, we're going to do another one of these, and today we're going to look at the American League East. I have 5 trades. I'm not going to do as much of a breakdown on standings because I'm going to honestly just do these trades in the order of the standings. With that being said, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So let's go ahead and start out with the New York Yankees, who are currently in first place in the American League East. They're currently 3 games up on Baltimore, and for me, the biggest need that I could tell on their roster is probably the bullpen. Their bullpen has been above average. They're currently ranked 13th according to Fangraphs in Fangraphs WAR out of their relief core, but they are missing some arms, and some of the arms that they have in Michael Tonkin and Dennis Santana, you wonder, can they really hold up these results that they've had for so long? So with that being said, the trade I have for the Yankees is to address the bullpen. I have the New York Yankees bringing in Lucas Sims from the Cincinnati Reds. Now, this might seem like a little bit of an unusual move for a team that really wants to win this year, and they're usually known for acquiring more, let's call them long-term additions at the deadline, as we saw with Clay Holmes. However, this just feels like a very Brian Cashman move to me. Like, he's going to go out and he's going to get a guy who might not have the best peripherals, but there's something about his coaching staff that makes him think, okay, maybe we can turn this guy's season around. We saw it last season with Keenan Middleton, and we saw it with Clay Holmes when they brought him in. If we want to talk about Lucas Sims, last season he was stellar. He posted a 3.1 ERA despite a 4.37 FIP and a 1.49 ERA plus. However, this year the strikeouts are down from 10.6 to 9.4 strikeouts per 9. The walks are also down by half a percentile from 5.8 to 5.3. The issue with Sims this year is he's allowing a lot more home runs, 2.3 home runs per 9 compared to 0.7 last year, and that's playing in Great American Small Park. So it's very possible that it could just be a rough stretch for Lucas Sims, and when he goes to New York, it's a better pitcher's park than Cincinnati, and that's not a statement I thought I'd make about Yankee Stadium, but it's possible getting him to somewhere like New York would be a place where he could possibly thrive. And in return, I have the Yankees sending over their number 30 prospect in Justin Lang. Now, Justin Lang was acquired from the Padres in the Luke Voit trade, but he really has not panned out as they expected. He struggled this year. He struggled last year. He could be someone who looks to change of scenery. Something like that might help him. And the Reds have bizarrely been known for developing pitchers over the last few years, with guys like Andrew Abbott and Graham Ashcraft coming through their system, Nick Lodolo, Hunter Green. They've got a strong rotation. Maybe if they're able to get someone like Justin Lang and say, okay, you're going to be a reliever and develop him as a reliever, they might have a chance of getting him to the majors, possibly even by the end of next season. Next up, let's talk about the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles are currently in second place. They've got 30 wins on the year, which is pretty good if you ask me. They're coming off an 100-win season that led them to the first seed in the AL. However, this team has one very, very big need. We all know what it is. We don't even need to think about it. They need a closer, and they need one badly. They signed Craig Kimbrell. He's been hot, he's been cold, he's been kind of a little sketch. They have Yennier Cano as their next closer on the depth chart, but he is not a closer. He was Bautista's setup guy for a reason. So if there's one thing that the Orioles need, if they want to make the playoffs, their near perfect roster needs a closer that can lock it down at the end of the game. Now, I saw the Mason Miller rumors that they're saying, the Baltimore Orioles might trade for Mason Miller. I don't buy it, which is why I come up with a different idea. I have the Baltimore Orioles trading for White Sox pitcher Michael Kopech. In exchange, the White Sox will be receiving 2 prospects in infielder Max Wagner, who is Baltimore's number 14 prospect, as well as right-hander Justin Armbruster, who is Baltimore's number 20 prospect. They will also be receiving right-handed pitcher Brian Baker, who was on the Major League team last year, but he is currently at AAA. Now, the big piece in this trade is Michael Kopech. Michael Kopech has finally been moved to the bullpen after years of everyone and their mother saying this guy needs to be in the bullpen because he has not been doing it well as a starter. He was in the bullpen in 2021 when they made the playoffs. He was that secret weapon that team had. And honestly, I don't disagree. I mean, his numbers say he's pitched a lot better out of the bullpen compared to out of the rotation. I don't have them up in front of me, but this season he's been very, very solid. He's gotten his velocity up to 99 and 100 at times this season, so Michael Kopech could certainly be a guy who can be in the bullpen, be at the end of a game. When you go into the ninth inning, you can have him or Craig Kimbrell, and you can feel like you're in much better hands. Now, in return, the White Sox are going to be receiving two prospects, the first of which is infielder Max Wagner, who's currently at Double A. He has struggled so far this season at Double A, but he has played well in his other stops. He's played well at a high A ball and even on rehab assignment in rookie ball. He's more of a utility guy. He can play second, he can play third. He's got defensive versatility according to MLB Pipeline, and he's a guy who could grow into an offensive-minded regular. They'll also be getting right-hander Justin Armbruster, who played really well at Double A last season in 12 games, had a bit of a rougher time at Triple A. This year at Triple A, he has struggled massively. He has a 9.35 ERA in 9 games with 1 save and 8 starts. The thing with Armbruster is he's got kind of a bit of a funky delivery. He throws a cutter, he throws a fastball that hits the mid 90s, a slider that sweeps. He's 6'5", 250, so he could be a pretty good piece for the White Sox in the future, considering they really revamped their minor league pitching staff with the Dylan Cease trade that they made earlier this season. And the last piece is right-hander Brian Baker, who I discussed. He pitched for the major league team last season. Last year, he had a 3.6 ERA in 46 games. His fastball velocity was almost averaging 96, and had he qualified, his xERA and expected batting average would have been in the 80th to 90th percentile. He had a fairly high strikeout rate and a pretty above average hard hit rate, so pretty solid piece. He throws a fastball averaging about 96, 97. So he could be a replacement for Kopech in the bullpen, maybe without the high upside, but he could still be a good piece for the White Sox to get in return. Let's talk about the Boston Red Sox, one of the biggest surprises of the 2024 season so far. The Red Sox are somehow in third place in the American League East. Now, that division is a gauntlet, so more credit to them. They've had a lot of performances. Their starting rotation has been absolutely insane this season. Like, no one expected them to be this good. They just hired Andrew Bailey as their pitching coach, so of course, it makes sense that they've gotten stellar performances out of the rotation. However, the rotation is also something of a concern. They just lost Garrett Whitlock for the year because of an internal brace procedure, and they signed Brad Keller to take his spot. So the Red Sox, honestly, they could use some rotation help. You can't just depend on Josh Winkowski back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen. So this trade that I've come up with for the Red Sox is going to involve that, kind of. Because another big pressing matter for the Red Sox is Kenley Jansen. We've known for a year now that they're going to trade him. They want to trade him, and they're going to need to they want to do it because of the salary. He's making a lot of money, so they're going to need someone to bite on that contract. So in this trade, I have the Red Sox trading away Kenley Jansen and Garrett Cooper to the Texas Rangers in exchange for right-handed pitcher Dane Acker, who is the Rangers' number 27 prospect. Now, Garrett Cooper was signed because Tristan Casas got injured. That's why they signed him. And he's been all right for the Red Sox. The numbers don't look great, but if you look at the Savant numbers that you see on screen, he might not qualify, but he is hitting the ball hard. And he's making sufficient contact. It's just it's not going his way right now. So he could be the kind of piece that the Rangers need off the bench, someone they could bring in as a pinch hitter against left-handed pitching, and, just that extra little thump in your lineup, more depth, as any contending team looks for. And then you get Kenley Jansen. Now, Kenley Jansen's been closing games for the Red Sox. I don't have his numbers up right in front of me, but he's been closing games for Boston. He's been doing pretty solid this season. And I think he's going to be a great addition for the Rangers. They have a great bullpen. And just the addition of Kenley Jansen, who has a 3.06 ERA and 23 strikeouts across roughly 18 innings of work, is going to be yet another really, really strong piece for this Rangers team. And for the Red Sox, I have the Red Sox acquiring right-handed pitcher Dane Acker, who is number 27 in their system. Now, Dane Acker is projected to be up in 2024 or 2025. He is currently pitching at AAA for the Texas Rangers, and he's not yet on the 40-man, so he's definitely more. It makes sense to trade for a guy like him as opposed to a guy like a Jack Leiter or an Owen White or a Cole Winn. In 2024, Dane Acker has a 2.72 ERA across 36 innings. The whip is at 1.27, but he has 51 strikeouts in those 36 in the third inning. So he is pitching really well right now. So I think this makes sense for the Red Sox. You get a high quality asset in exchange for a guy you've been meaning to trade for a year and Garrett Cooper, who just signed as a contingency plan. Currently in fourth place in this division is the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays have been one of the more interesting teams to look at this season, both statistically and just on the field. While they did debut their City Connects, which are arguably one of my favorite in the entire MLB. I had to say that. The team has had something of a rough start. Their starting pitching has been decimated by injuries. Their bullpen has not been as dominant as we have usually seen the Rays bullpen be. They've gotten into quite a few extra inning games in their own right. And the offense hasn't necessarily been clicking on all cylinders. Guys like Randy Arozarena have been off to slow starts this season, and guys like Jose Caballero had firing hot starts in the month of April, but then in the month of May kind of slowed down a little bit. So the Rays are not quite that complete team they're expecting. Furthermore, top prospect Junior Caminero is out for at least a month due to a quad injury, so they can't really call on him to bring him up. So what do I think the Rays need to do? If the Rays really want to compete, I think they need to get another starting pitcher. You cannot depend on the likes of Shane Baz, Drew Rasmussen, and Jeffrey Springs all coming off major injuries to be like your workhorse starting pitchers. They have Ryan Pepio, who's been excellent this season, but who else do they really have? I mean, Tyler Alexander's flirting with a 7 ERA right now. So I have the Rays trading for a starting pitcher. Let's take a look. So I have the Tampa Bay Rays making a trade for White Sox starter Eric Fetty in exchange for Trevor Martin, who is their number 15 overall prospect, and reliever Nelson L. Alvarez. Now, Eric Fetty has been incredible for the Chicago White Sox this season. In 11 games started, he's 4-1 with a 2.80 ERA across 64 in the third innings. The whip is at 1.07, so he's not allowing a ton of contact or a ton of base runners. He hasn't really had many bad starts this season other than his first start of the year. He's had a couple rougher outings against Toronto on May 20th. However, the rest of his outings have been incredible. He did pitch really well against these same Rays, so I think the Rays are going to be like, hey, this guy pitched really well against us. Imagine what he could do when we put him in our pitching lab. So it is a pretty steep price to pay for the Rays, sending over a top 20 prospect along with a reliever who is performing quite well that is not on their 40-man roster. However, Eric Fetty is under control for this season and next. He's making a reasonable 7.5 million. And if you've seen the starting pitching market the last offseason, if you trade this for Eric Fetty, I think you're going to be more than content. Now, when it comes to the prospects involved in this trade, Trevor Martin is currently the number 15 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. My apologies, not 15, 19. Last season at Single A, he was pitching incredibly well. He had 25 total games, 22 starts. He was 10-5 with a 3.52 ERA. The whip was at 1.21, which was slightly concerning, but he did throw 131 strikeouts over 110 innings. This season, he's doing relatively the same at High A. He's doing actually a little bit better. He has 64 strikeouts in 52 innings with a 3-2 record and a 3.29 ERA. The walks are at 12 and the batting average against is 240. However, he is doing a really solid job in high A. Now, he is 23, so he might be around the average or slightly above the average age for high A, but he's a guy who doesn't have a ton of starting experience, so they're really getting him acclimated to starting before sending him to the higher levels. And then when it comes to Nelson Alvarez, who's currently pitching for the Rays AAA affiliate, he's 1-0 with a 2.70 ERA. He's been pitching quite well. He doesn't have any saves, but he has 15 strikeouts and 16 and two-thirds innings. So he could be a piece for the White Sox to call up. I know there's not really a ton for me to go off of in this trade because it's just a simple 2-for-1, but the Rays are really going to address a dire need in their starting rotation, which is going to lessen the pressure that's going to be put on Shane Baz or Drew Rasmussen or any of the other guys they have coming off of major injury. And last but not least, let's talk about the Toronto Blue Jays. The Toronto Blue Jays have been they've been
We're a team.
of all the teams to be, let's say, disappointing this season, the Blue Jays have certainly been one of the most underwhelming teams this season. Their starting pitching has not been good at all this season. Only Yusei Kikuchi and Jose Barrios have been good. And when 40% of your rotation is good, that does not really look good for the rest of your pitching staff. As you can see on screen, Alek Manoah just recently left a game with injury, so there is not really a known timeline for how long he's going to be out. A lot of their depth options are not ready. They've had guys like Bowden Francis be pitching games for them. It doesn't really look great for them on the pitching side. And then when it comes to the hitting side, it's kind of just some guys are performing, but then it's more of the same. We keep thinking, when is Vladimir Guerrero going to break out again? Hasn't happened yet. We keep thinking, what's going to happen with Bo Bichette? Hasn't happened yet. Their offseason moves have been questionable. For even more details, I want to point out this really good video by Smarter Baseball. I watched this yesterday in preparation for working on this segment, and it was really definitely very informative. So go and check that out. I will try to link it in the description. Anyways, the Blue Jays need to decide what they need to do. Do you either go for it, have one or two more shots, or do you think this is in the gauntlet of a division that we have to blow it up? I have the Blue Jays blowing it up. I know it's not the popular option, but honestly, I just don't see this core of players really doing much. Last year was their biggest shot. Last year was their best shot. And now I just don't have faith in the Blue Jays right now. So they're going to blow it up, and we're going to start with this trade. In this trade, I have the Toronto Blue Jays sending shortstop Bo Bichette to the Los Angeles Dodgers in exchange for three of the Dodgers' top 30 prospects in River Ryan, Landon Knack, and Yainer Fernandez. Let's talk about Bichette to start, because Bo Bichette, he's under team control for 1.5 more seasons. He's not a free agent until after 2025. The thing with Bichette is he's kind of had something of a down year just going off his career averages this year. He's starting off the year hitting 251 with a 663 OPS. He has 4 homers and 25 RBIs and just over 200 at bats. He's not going to walk a lot, as we've seen throughout his career. He's kind of a free swinger, but he does have high average traits, and he is able to get on base at a relatively above average clip. I mean, last year he got on base at a 339 clip and ended up with an 814 OPS. There is no way, in my opinion, that he's going to continue being this underperforming throughout the rest of the season. And the thing with Bichette is he's graded out as an average shortstop. But if you move him to short and you move over Mookie Betts to second, it's going to reduce the wear and tear on Mookie Betts, and you're going to get even better production out of your lineup if you're the LA Dodgers. Think of this as when the Dodgers went after Trey Turner, even though they had Corey Seager. He's not on the same pedigree as player as Trey Turner, but the concept is still the same. You get another high average infielder to add to your already really dense infield, so you have even more depth, even more lineup versatility, because you can put Bichette at second if you felt the need to, and he's probably above average defensively at second base. As you can see on screen, he's still hitting, so that would be a welcome addition to LA. In exchange for Bichette, the Blue Jays are going to receive three of the Dodgers' top 30 prospects, the first of which is pitcher River Ryan, who is currently their number 4 prospect. Now, he has yet to pitch this season on account of shoulder fatigue, and he is 25, going to be 26 in August. He did start pitching when in 2021, so he is kind of still a developing pitcher, if you will. He peaks at 99, though. He peaks at 99. He has a high 80s changeup, a good curveball, and a tight slider. So he has the potential to be a number 2 or a number 3 starter. This is all according to MLB Pipeline. Last season, he had a 3.80 ERA across 2 levels in 26 starts. He's only pitched 2 games in AAA, and both of those were last season. So he's going to need some time in AAA to develop before he can be called up. So he's more of a 2025 option if the Blue Jays make this deal. Next trade piece is going to be the Dodgers' number 12 prospect. I almost said 13 there, but number 12 prospect, Landon Knack, who is currently in Oklahoma City in the Dodgers AAA affiliate. He has pitched in 4 games for the Dodgers, going 1-1 with a 2.61 ERA, 16 strikeouts to 6 walks across 20 and 2/3 innings. This year at Oklahoma City, he's pitching phenomenally. He has a 3.25 ERA in the Pacific Coast League. In the Pacific Coast League. So, yeah, I did not stutter, by the way. The thing with Landon Knack is he's going to be more of a middle to a back of the rotation starter. He just needs to stay healthy. He's touching 95, 96. He can peak at 98 if he has to. He has a tight slider and a good changeup. He's a 4 pitch guy, like a lot of pitchers in the Dodgers organization, but he has some potential to be in the back of that rotation. And with the Blue Jays losing some other rotation pieces in Kikuchi and no, just Kikuchi this offseason, they are going to need starting pitching and badly. The next piece in this trade is Yainer Fernandez, who is the Dodgers' number 27 prospect. Yes, number 27. He's currently a double A. He is one of these guys who's a catcher, but he can also play some infield. He can go second base. He can play third base and shortstop if he has to. Now, he's an on-base machine throughout his career. Across his career since 2021 in the minors, he has a 377 career on-base percentage. Last season, he hit 273 at high A with a 360 on base and a 735 OPS. This season at double A, he's hitting 237. The on base is still high at 366. The slugging is down. I mean, to be expected. He is only 21, so he's still developing. He's still got a ways to go. He's not the best defensive catcher in terms of his throwing, but he has a quick motion that can allow him to throw out base runners. The Blue Jays don't really have a catcher of the future in case Alejandro Kirk stalls out, so therefore a guy like Ayana Fernandez could be in play down the road in 2 to 3 years after Kirk's team control window expires. Now, I know there's a lot of details to go off of in this trade, but I honestly think the Blue Jays need to blow it up and they needed to do it now. Because if they want to compete, they don't have the farm system to do that. They have next to no pitching depth in the upper minors, and they're depending on a lot of guys who are going to be reaching their mid 30s soon. So, this trade I feel is a good place for the Blue Jays to start their rebuild or retool. I know there's a few other pieces they could trade, but I might make a whole video on the Blue Jays eventually. We'll get there. And there we have it, everyone. One trade for every team in the American League East. Now, this video took a lot more effort than the NL West one because these standings were messier. Fun. Anyways, thank you all for enjoying this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you would do differently if you're the general manager of any of these teams. And as I'm finishing rendering this video, the Orioles just announced Tyler Wells and John Means are out for the season. Great. Looks like I might have to revisit this one. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching. There are more videos on screen for you to check out. I really appreciate you coming by, spending roughly 20-25 minutes of your time here. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Twitter, link in the description. Subscribe on the screen and down there. This outro is a little messy, but it's okay. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Have a good one. Standard Baseball, signing off.